Hey guys, so we're going to be reading First Love again. We're on part one. So we're done with the prologue. We are on part one. Part one, chapter one. Part one, chapter one. It was 4:30 a.m. when I woke up and pulled my backpack out from under the bed. I spent the last few nights obsessively packing and unpacking and repacking it, making sure I had exactly what I needed and no more. A couple of changes of clothes, Dr. Bronner's Castle soap, good for shave, shampoo, massage, dental soap, bath, says the label, and a Swiss Army knife that I'd swapped from my dad's desk drawer, a camera, and of course my journal, which I carry everywhere. Oh, and more than $1,500 in cash, because I'd been the neighborhood's best babysitter for going on 5 years now. I charged accordingly. Maybe there was a part of me that always knew I was going to split. I mean, what else did I didn't blow my money on an iPad and a Vera Wing prom dress, like all the other girls in my class? I'd had the map of the U.S. on my wall for ages, and I'd stare at it and wonder what Colorado and youth in Michigan and Tennessee is like. I can't believe it took me so long as it did to get up the guts to leave. After all, I'd watched my mom do it. 6 months after my little sister Carol Ann died, Mom wiped her red-rimmed eyes and took off. Went back east where she grew up, and as far as I know, never looked back. Maybe the compulsive to run away is genetic. Mom did it to escape her grief, Dad escaped with alcohol. Now I was doing it, and it felt strangely right. At long last, I could almost forgive Mom for splitting. I slipped on my traveling clothes and sneakers, saying goodbye to my favorite boots, and hoisted my backpack onto my shoulder, crunching the straps tight. I was going to miss this apartment, this town, this life, like an ex-con misses his jail cell, which is to say, not at all. My dad was asleep on the ugly living room couch. It used to have these pretty pink flowers on it, but now they look sort of brownish orange, like even fabric plants could die of neglect in our apartment. I walked right by and slipped out the front door. My dad gave me a snore in his sleep, but other than that, he never even stirred. In the last few years, he'd gotten pretty used to people leaving. Would it really matter if another member of the Moore family disappeared on him? Out in the hallway, though, I paused. I thought about him waking up and shuffling into the kitchen to make coffee. He'd see how clean I left it and he'd be really grateful, and maybe he'd decide to come home from work early and actually cook us a family dinner, or a what's left of the family dinner, and then he'd wait for me at the table, the way I'd waited so many nights for him until the food got cold. Eventually, it would dawn on him I was gone. A dull ache spread in my chest. I turned and went back inside. Dad was on his back, his mouth slightly open as he breathed, his shoes still on. I put out a hand and touched him lightly on the shoulder. He wasn't a horrible father at all. He paid the rent and the grocery bill, even if it was me who usually did the shopping. When we talked, which wasn't often, he'd ask me about school and friends. I always said everything was great because I loved him enough to lie. He was doing the best he could, even if that best wasn't very good. I'd written about 800 drafts of a goodbye note. The pleading one, please try to understand, Dad, this is just something I have to do. The flattering one, it's your love and concern for me, Dad, that gave me the strength to make this journey. The literary one, As the great Irish playwright George Shaw wrote, life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself. And I want to go create myself, Dad. The I'm trying to The mad one. Don't worry about me. I'm good at taking care of myself. After all, I've been doing it since Mom left. In the end, though, none of them seemed right, and I'd thrown them all away. I bent down closer. I could smell beer and sweat and Old Spice aftershave. "Oh, Daddy," I whispered. Maybe there's a tiny part of me that hoped he'd wake up and stop me. A small, weak part that just wanted to be a little girl again, with a family that wasn't sick and broken. But that sure wasn't going to happen, was it? So I leaned in and kissed my father on the cheek, and then I left him for real.